You have 2 hours to pack and get out. That is how my son kicked me out of the home I built, with zero shame, zero hesitation. When I tried to use the old card my wife left me, the banker suddenly turned pale and whispered, "Sir, quickly, look at this." And what I saw shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. Before we continue, we ask you to hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. It was a Thursday morning in October, the kind of day where the air smells like wet leaves and the sky cannot decide if it wants to rain or just threaten you with the possibility. I was in the kitchen making coffee when Elias walked in. My son, 35 years old, wearing a suit that cost more than my truck, carrying himself like he owned the world. He did not say good morning. He did not ask how I slept. He just stood there in the doorway with his arms crossed and said those words. 2 hours, Dad. Pack what you need and get out. I thought he was joking. I actually laughed. But then I saw his face. Cold. Decided. Like he had rehearsed this moment in his head 100 times. Elias, what are you talking about? This is my house now. You are living here as a guest, and I am revoking that privilege. You have 2 hours. Behind him, Tess appeared. My daughter-in-law. 33, blonde, polished like a magazine cover. She said nothing. Just stood there with her arms crossed, watching me like I was some kind of insect she was waiting to see squashed. That silence was worse than anything Elias said. I tried to stay calm, tried to think like the engineer I used to be. Systems, logic, step by step. Elias, your mother and I built this house. We raised you here. You cannot just... Actually, I can. The deed is in my name. Has been for 3 years. You signed it over, remember? When Mom got sick and you needed help with the medical expenses? I remembered. Of course I remembered. Mara was fading, and the treatments were draining us. Elias offered to help restructure the finances. Said it would make everything easier. I trusted him. He was my son. That was supposed to be temporary, I said quietly. We agreed. We agreed nothing. You signed papers. Those papers are legal. This house is mine, and I want you out. Tess stepped forward then. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. That made it worse. Silas, you have to understand. Elias and I are building a life here. We have plans. And honestly, having you around, it is just not working anymore. Not working. Like I was a broken appliance. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. Tried to find the boy I used to know. The kid who used to sit on my shoulders at baseball games. The teenager who asked me to teach him how to drive. The young man who cried at his mother's memorial and told me we would get through this together. He was gone. Or maybe he was never really there. Fine, I said. Give me a day. I will find a place. 2 hours. Elias? 2 hours. He walked over to the alarm panel and changed the code. Right in front of me. Then he went upstairs. I heard him moving around in my room. My room. When he came back down, he was carrying 2 suitcases. My suitcases. Already packed. Tess helped me get your things together, he said. We figured it would save time. They had planned this. Packed my life into 2 bags like I was checking out of a motel. I took the suitcases. My hands were shaking, but I kept my voice steady. All right, I will go, but I need to access my accounts first. Transfer some money so I can get a motel room. Elias smirked. Actually smirked. Go ahead, but you might want to check your balance first. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The screen loaded. I stared at the numbers. 0. My checking account, 0. My savings account, 0. The emergency fund Mara and I had built over 30 years, 0. What did you do? My voice came out like gravel. Nothing illegal. Just took what was owed to me. You have been living here rent-free for 2 years, Dad. That is not cheap. That money was in accounts with my name on them, too. Joint accounts, remember? Another thing you signed when Mom got sick. I felt like the floor was tilting. He was right. I had signed those papers. Elias said it would make it easier to help with bills if something happened to me. I never thought... There is still the card, I said. The one Mara left me, her life insurance account. Elias shrugged. Try it. I grabbed my wallet, found the card. My hands were shaking harder now. 2 hours starts now, Elias said. He looked at his watch. It is 10:15. You have until 12:15. If you are still here after that, I call the police and have you removed for trespassing. He walked away. Tess followed. I heard them going upstairs, heard their bedroom door close, heard them laughing. I stood there in the kitchen I had remodeled with my own hands, the cabinets I had installed, the floor I had laid, the window over the sink where Mara used to stand and watch the birds, and I picked up my suitcases and walked out. The morning air hit my face like cold water. I threw the suitcases into the bed of my truck and climbed into the cab, sat there with the engine off, staring at the house through the windshield. Everything I had built, everything Mara and I had worked for, gone, taken by the person we trusted most. My phone buzzed, a text from Raymond Pike, my neighbor, retired fire chief, 71 years old, tougher than boot leather. Saw Elias throw your bags out. You okay? I did not answer. Just put the truck in reverse and backed out of the driveway. The house disappeared in my rearview mirror. I drove 3 blocks and pulled into the bank parking lot. The bank was nearly empty. A few tellers, a manager behind glass. I handed over the card Mara left me, her insurance payout account, $50,000. Untouchable, she'd said. The young teller swiped it, frowned, tried again. Sir, this card is inactive. That's impossible. She checked her computer, went pale, and hurried to the manager. Moments later, Dr. Helena Brooks, Mara's former colleague, called me into a private office, closed the blinds, and showed me her screen. My name, Mara's name, and rows of red warnings. Someone accessed your wife's insurance account last night, she said. They changed the beneficiary, authorized a withdrawal, and requested closure, all from your home IP. I stared. Last night, while I slept. She opened scanned documents with my forged signature. Then a flagged chat log. User 1. Are you sure this will work? User 2. He signed power of attorney. We can make it look real. User 1. What if he fights it? User 2. He won't survive this. He's too old. Helena played an audio clip. It was Tess's voice. A cold clarity settled in. How much time do I have? 72 hours before the account closes and transfers to Elias Oren. Freeze it. I already did, but without proof these are forged, Elias can push it through. I left the bank, sat in my truck, and called Raymond Pike. I need a place to stay. Guest room's yours. At his house, I sat on the bed and opened my notes app. Timeline, access points, weaknesses. I wasn't a lawyer or a fighter. I was an engineer. When something breaks, you find the flaw. You fix it, or you dismantle it. Raymond Pike's guest room smelled like old wood and gun oil. Not unpleasant, just honest, the kind of smell that comes from a man who builds his own furniture and cleans his own rifles and does not apologize for either. I sat on the bed with my notebook open, started mapping everything out like a schematic, like a machine I needed to understand before I could take it apart. Timeline. 3 years ago. Elias convinced me to sign power of attorney and joint account papers. Said it was for Mara's medical expenses. I was desperate. She was fading. I signed everything he put in front of me. 2 years ago, Mara passed. The funeral was on a Tuesday. By Friday, Elias was suggesting I move in with him and Tess. Said it would be easier. Said I should not be alone. I was too broken to argue. Too numb to see what was really happening. 18 months ago, Elias started talking about simplifying the estate. More papers, more signatures. He made it sound reasonable, made it sound like he was helping. I trusted him because he was my son and because I was still drowning in grief. 6 months ago, I started noticing changes, small things. Mail that disappeared, calls from the bank that Elias said he would handle, Tess asking questions about Mara's life insurance, about when the policy would mature, about who the beneficiary was. I should have seen it then, should have recognized the pattern. But I was living in their house, eating their food, feeling like a burden, feeling grateful. Last night, they made their move, forged documents, tried to drain the insurance account, tried to erase me financially so I would have nothing left to fight with. This morning, they kicked me out with 2 hours' notice and a smile. Patterns, weaknesses, pressure points. I wrote it all down. Every detail I could remember, every conversation that seemed off, every time Tess looked at me like I was already gone. There was a knock on the door. Raymond came in carrying a plate with a sandwich and some chips. He set it down on the nightstand. Figured you did not eat, he said. Thanks. He sat down in the chair by the window, looked at my notebook, did not ask what I was writing, just waited. They planned this, I said finally. For months, maybe longer. I know. How? Because I have seen that look on Tess's face before, the one she gets when she thinks nobody is watching. My daughter-in-law had the same look right before she cleaned out my son's bank account and disappeared. Some people are just wired that way. They see everything as something to take. I set down my pen. What did your son do? Nothing. By the time he figured it out, she was gone. He spent 2 years trying to rebuild. Never really recovered. I am not going to let that happen to me. Raymond smiled. It was not a kind smile. Good. What do you need? Information. Elias keeps documents somewhere, financial records, things he does not want anyone finding. If I can figure out where... Storage unit, Raymond said. I have seen him loading boxes into his car. Tuesday mornings, like clockwork, he drives out to that big climate-controlled place on Industrial Boulevard. I looked up. You are sure? Positive. I asked him about it once. He said it was just old files from work. But nobody drives 20 minutes to store work files unless those files are something they need to hide. I need to get in there. That is breaking and entering, not if I have legitimate access. Raymond raised an eyebrow. Explain. I still have my old consultant credentials from when I worked industrial safety at the logistics company. We contracted with storage facilities all over the state, safety inspections, code compliance, access audits. You think they are still valid? Only one way to find out. Raymond stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the street. You know what you are doing here, right? You are not just getting your money back. You are going to war with your own son. He went to war with me first. I am just returning fire. All right then, what else do you need? Blueprints, access schedules, anything that tells me how that building works, where the cameras are, where the blind spots are. I can get that. Fire safety records are public. Every commercial building has to file them. Give me until tomorrow morning. He left. I went back to my notebook, started planning. Elias was predictable. That was his weakness. He liked routines, liked control, liked schedules he could count on. Tuesday mornings at the storage unit, every week, same time, same pattern. That meant I could predict when he would be there, and more importantly, when he would not be. I pulled out my phone, looked up the storage facility online, climate-controlled units, 24-hour security, keycard access, cameras at every entrance. But security systems are just machines, and every machine has weak points. You just have to know where to look. I thought about the logistics hub where I used to work. Thought about all the times I had to inspect storage facilities. Thought about the patterns I saw, the shortcuts, the ways people bent the rules to save time or money, service entrances, loading docks, emergency exits that had to stay unlocked by law, maintenance corridors that nobody thought to monitor because they were supposed to be secure. Every building has gaps. You just have to find them. I spent the rest of the afternoon researching, looking up building codes, fire safety regulations, OSHA requirements, all the rules that buildings had to follow, all the places where those rules created vulnerabilities. By the time Raymond called me for dinner, I had a plan. Not a complete plan, but the beginning of one. We ate in silence. Raymond made steak and potatoes. Simple food, good food. The kind of meal that reminds you that not everything in the world is complicated. You look different, Raymond said after we finished. Different how? Like you remember who you used to be. I thought about that, about the man I was before Mara got sick, before grief turned me into someone who just accepted things, someone who signed papers without reading them, someone who let his son make decisions because it was easier than fighting. I am remembering, I said. Raymond nodded. Good, because the man I knew would not have let anyone push him around, not even his own son. That night I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling, thought about Mara, about the way she used to tell me I was too trusting, too willing to believe the best in people. She said it was one of the things she loved about me, but she also said it would get me in trouble someday. She was right. I thought about Elias, about the boy he used to be, about the man he became, about the moment when he stopped being my son and started being something else. Maybe that moment happened years ago, maybe it happened gradually, or maybe it happened all at once and I just did not want to see it. It did not matter now. What mattered was what came next. I closed my eyes, started visualizing the storage facility, the layout, the access points, the timing, started building a mental map of exactly how I was going to walk in there and take back what was mine. Not just the documents, not just the money, my dignity, my life, everything they tried to take from me. I fell asleep planning. And for the first time in 2 years, I did not dream about Mara. I dreamed about blueprints and hallways and locked doors that I knew exactly how to open. Friday morning came cold and sharp. I was up at 5:30. Raymond was already in the kitchen drinking coffee that looked thick enough to patch drywall. Blueprints are on the table, he said. My buddy from the fire department dropped them off an hour ago. I spread them out. The storage facility was 3 stories. Concrete and steel construction, security cameras at every entrance, keycard access for the main doors, but there were weak points. Service entrances, loading docks, an emergency exit on the north side that had to remain accessible by code. "When are you going in?" Raymond asked. "Not yet. I need leverage first. I need something that forces Elias to panic, something that makes him make mistakes." "What kind of leverage?" "The kind that comes from watching a man lose control of his own plan." I folded up the blueprints, grabbed my truck keys. "Where are you going?" Raymond asked. "To cause an accident." Raymond grinned. "You are enjoying this." "Not yet," I said, "but I will." I drove to the highway, the section where Elias merged every morning at 7:30 on his way to work. I had driven this route with him enough times to know his patterns. He always took the same exit, always merged at the same spot, always drove like he owned the road. There was construction scheduled for next week, but the equipment was already staged on the shoulder. Orange cones, barriers, a temporary lane closure that was not being enforced yet, just sitting there waiting. I parked my truck and got out, put on an old safety vest I kept in the back, started walking the shoulder like I was inspecting something. Just an old guy in reflective gear looking official. Nobody questioned it. Nobody ever questions a man in a safety vest. I found the spot I needed, a merge point where two lanes became one. During rush hour, it would back up traffic for half a mile. All I needed was a little extra chaos, a little extra pressure. I moved 3 cones, shifted a barrier, made the merge point tighter, nothing illegal, nothing that violated any code, just inconvenient. Then I went back to my truck and waited. 7:25, right on schedule. I saw Elias's car coming up the highway. Black sedan. Expensive. He was in the left lane, driving 10 miles over the speed limit like always. I pulled onto the highway ahead of him, stayed in the right lane, drove exactly the speed limit, watched him in my rearview mirror. He came up fast behind me. I could see his face. Annoyed. Impatient. He tried to pass on the left, but there was too much traffic. Tried to drop back and pass on the right, but the construction forced everyone into the same lane. We hit the merge point. I tapped my brakes. Just a light tap. Just enough to make the car behind me brake. Just enough to create a chain reaction. Horns started blaring. Brake lights lit up like Christmas. Elias had to slam on his brakes. His tires squealed. His car jerked forward, then back. And I saw it happen through his windshield. His briefcase, on the passenger seat. It flew forward and smashed into the dashboard. The latch popped. Papers exploded across the front seat and into the footwell. Perfect. I accelerated smoothly and drove away, checked my mirror. Elias was pulling onto the shoulder, his hazard lights flashing. I could see him scrambling to gather papers. Could see some of them blowing out through his open door. I drove 2 miles down the highway, pulled off at a rest stop, waited 15 minutes. Then I walked back along the shoulder, moving slow, looking for trash like a good citizen cleaning up the roadside. I found what I was looking for in the weeds near the guardrail. 3 sheets of paper, damp from the morning dew but still readable. The first was a bank authorization form, with my signature. Except it was not my signature. It was close. Very close. But the angle of the S was wrong. The loop on the O was too wide. The second was a budget spreadsheet, titled Post-Dad Phase. It had line items for renovations, for a new car, for a vacation to Europe, all scheduled to begin next month, all funded by money that was supposed to be mine. The third was a handwritten note in Tessa's handwriting. I recognized it from birthday cards she used to send. The note said, "Once the account's clear, we cancel the insurance. Route the payout through the LLC. He will not have anything left to fight with. We finish this clean." I folded the papers carefully, put them in a plastic bag, put the bag in my jacket pocket. Pressure point number 1. Acquired. I drove back to Raymond's house. He was in the garage working on something with a welding torch. He turned it off when I walked in. "How did it go?" I pulled out the papers, spread them on his workbench. "Better than expected." Raymond read through them, let out a low whistle. "This is premeditated. They planned the whole thing." "I know." "What are you going to do with this?" "Build a case. Document everything. Then I am going to walk into that storage facility and find the rest." "When?" "Tomorrow. Elias goes there every Tuesday morning, which means Monday night the facility will be empty. That is when I go in." Raymond looked at me. "You sure about this?" "I am 68 years old. My wife is gone. My son betrayed me. I have nothing left to lose and everything to take back. Yeah, I am sure." Saturday I spent in Raymond's garage. He had a scanner and a printer that looked like it survived the Cold War but still worked. I scanned every document, made multiple copies, organized them into folders, built a timeline that was impossible to argue with. Saturday afternoon, Helena Brooks called. "Silas, we need to talk. Can you come to the bank?" "When?" "Monday morning, 9 a.m., and bring everything you have. Elias came in yesterday with a lawyer. They are pushing hard to release the funds." "On what grounds?" "They claim you have cognitive decline, that you signed the documents willingly but do not remember. They have a letter from a doctor." "I have not seen a doctor in 6 months." "I know, that is why I am calling you. But Silas, if they push this through the legal system, it gets complicated. We need to shut it down before it goes that far." "I will be there Monday morning, and I will have everything you need." I hung up, looked at Raymond. "They are moving faster than I thought." "Then you need to move faster. When are you going to the storage place?" "Tomorrow night." "You need backup?" "No. If something goes wrong, I need you clean. Need you able to vouch for me." Raymond did not like it, but he nodded. "All right, but you call me if anything happens. I do not care what time it is." Sunday I spent preparing. I dug out my old consultant badge. It was expired, but it looked official enough. Found my old safety inspection clipboard. Made it look used, made it look legitimate. I drove past the storage facility 3 times, studied the camera angles, studied the traffic patterns, studied the lighting. By the time the sun set, I had the whole place mapped in my head. Sunday night, I could not sleep, just lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about what came next, thinking about walking into that building, thinking about what I might find, thinking about facing my son's betrayal in black and white, in documents and spreadsheets and forged signatures, in proof that could not be denied or explained away. Part of me did not want to know, wanted to believe there was some explanation, some reason that made sense, but I was past that now. Past hoping, past believing in explanations. I was ready for the truth, whatever it was. Monday night came with rain, cold October rain that turned the streets slick and made the streetlights blur. Perfect weather for what I had to do. I left Raymond's house at 8 p.m., wore dark clothes, brought my old consultant badge and clipboard, brought a small flashlight and a pocket knife. Nothing illegal, nothing that would get me in trouble if someone stopped me. The storage facility sat on Industrial Boulevard like a concrete fortress. 3 stories of climate-controlled units surrounded by chain-link fence and security cameras. The parking lot was almost empty. Just 2 cars near the office and a maintenance van by the loading dock. I parked near the service entrance on the north side, away from the main cameras, away from the office. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes watching, looking for patterns, looking for guards. Nobody came out. Nobody drove past. Just rain hammering on the roof and the yellow glow of sodium lights reflecting off wet pavement. I got out, walked to the service entrance like I belonged there. The door was marked authorized personnel only, but it was not locked. Fire code. Emergency exits have to be accessible from the outside in case of evacuation. I pulled the door open and stepped inside. The hallway smelled like concrete and industrial cleaner. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Security camera in the corner, but the angle was wrong. It covered the main corridor, but not the service entrance. Exactly what I expected. Exactly what I had seen in 100 other buildings, just like this one. I walked down the hallway, checking unit numbers. Elias's unit was on the 2nd floor, number 217. I had gotten the number from a piece of mail that fell out of his car during the accident I staged. Just another detail. Just another weak point in his system. I took the stairs. No cameras in the stairwell. Another code requirement. Stairwells have to be kept clear for evacuation. No obstructions, no equipment, no cameras that might make people hesitate during an emergency. 2nd floor. The corridor stretched in both directions. More fluorescent lights. More cameras. But I knew where the blind spots were. Every building has them. You just have to know how to find them. I moved along the wall, stayed low, stayed slow, counted doors until I reached 217. The unit had a padlock. Heavy duty, industrial grade. But padlocks have weaknesses, especially padlocks that get used every week. The shackle gets worn. The mechanism gets loose. You just have to know how to exploit it. I pulled out my pocket knife, slid the blade into the gap between the shackle and the lock body, applied pressure, felt for the point where the mechanism caught. Found it. Twisted. The lock popped open. I removed it. Opened the door, stepped inside, closed the door behind me. The unit was maybe 10 by 10, shelves on 3 walls, boxes stacked neat and labeled, a filing cabinet in the corner. Everything organized, everything precise. That was Elias, always neat, always in control. I pulled out my flashlight, started going through boxes. The first box contained tax returns. Going back 5 years, nothing unusual, just standard paperwork. The second box had medical records, Mara's medical records, from her treatment, from the hospital, from the specialists. I recognized some of the documents, recognized the signatures, mine and hers. But there were other documents too. Documents I had never seen, authorization forms, insurance claims, financial disclosures, all with my signature. Except they were not my signature. I kept digging. The third box had bank statements, hundreds of them, going back years. I started reading, started seeing the pattern. Transfers. Small at first, a few $100s here, 1,000 there. Always moved from accounts with my name on them into accounts I did not recognize. Always justified with some explanation. Medical expenses, house repairs, emergency funds. But the amounts got bigger over time, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. And the explanations disappeared. Just transfers. Just money moving from my accounts into the void. I pulled out my phone, started taking pictures, every document, every statement, every forged signature. The filing cabinet was locked, but it was a cheap lock. I used my knife again, popped it open in 30 seconds. Inside were folders, organized by date, each folder labeled with a month and year. I pulled out the most recent one. Inside was a document titled Asset Transfer Plan. It was dated 3 months ago. It had sections labeled Phase 1, Account Access, and Phase 2, Property Transfer, and Phase 3, Insurance Liquidation. It was a blueprint, a step-by-step plan for taking everything I owned, everything Mara and I had built, and it was detailed, precise, thorough. I read through it, felt my hands start shaking, not from fear, from rage, cold, crystalline rage that made everything sharp and clear. They had been planning this for months, every conversation, every signature. Every time Elias said he was helping me, it was all part of this plan. Phase 1 was complete. They had access to my accounts. Phase 2 was in progress. They were working on transferring the house deed permanently. Phase 3 was scheduled for next week, the life insurance liquidation, but there was a Phase 4. I almost missed it. It was on a separate page clipped to the back of the folder. Phase 4, assisted living placement. I read it twice, then 3 times, making sure I understood what I was seeing. They were going to put me in a home, an assisted living facility. They had already picked one out, already talked to the administration, already filled out preliminary paperwork. The document had notes in Tessa's handwriting. Once assets are secured, initiate medical evaluation. Diagnosis, cognitive decline, legal authority, existing POA. Timeline, 2 weeks from Phase 3 completion. They were going to have me declared incompetent, lock me in a facility, take everything, and make it legal. I stood there in the dark storage unit holding that paper, reading those words, feeling something shift inside me. This was not just about money anymore. This was not just about betrayal. This was about erasing me, about making me disappear, about turning me into a legal non-person so they could live the life they wanted without me getting in the way. I took pictures of everything, every page, every document, every piece of their plan. Then I found something else. In the back of the filing cabinet, a cardboard box, unmarked. I opened it. Inside were more documents. But these were different. These were about Mara. Medical records I had never seen. Bills that were marked paid in full, but I did not remember paying them. Insurance claims that showed different amounts than what I was told. And then I found it, a letter from the insurance company, dated 2 months before Mara passed. It was addressed to Elias. The letter confirmed a policy change. Mara's life insurance beneficiary had been changed from me to Elias. The change was dated 1 week before she went into hospice care, when she was barely conscious, when she could not have possibly signed anything. But there was a signature on the change form, Mara's signature, or something that looked like Mara's signature. I stared at that signature, felt tears coming, not from sadness, from understanding. He had been planning this even then, while his mother was gravely ill, when I was falling apart. He was already forging documents, already setting up his plan, everything after that, everything I thought was him trying to help. It was all just the plan moving forward. I put the letter in my pocket, put everything else back exactly how I found it, closed the filing cabinet, closed the boxes, left everything looking untouched. Then I walked out, locked the padlock, made sure it looked exactly like it did when I arrived. I walked back down the hallway, took the stairs, pushed through the service entrance, stepped out into the rain. The cold water hit my face. washed away the tears I did not realize were falling. I walked to my truck, got in, sat there with the engine off. I had what I needed. I had evidence that could not be denied, proof that would hold up in any court, documents that would destroy Elias and Tess completely. But I did not feel victorious, not yet. I just felt cold and clear and ready. I started the truck, drove back to Raymond's house. He was still up, sitting in his living room watching old westerns with the sound off. "How did it go?" he asked. I pulled out my phone, showed him the pictures. "I found everything." Raymond scrolled through the images. His face got harder with each one. When he reached the assisted living document, he stopped, looked at me. "They were going to lock you up." "I know. What are you going to do?" "Finish it," I said. "Tomorrow morning I go to the bank. I give Helena everything. I file a formal complaint. I press charges. And then I wait for Elias to realize his whole world is falling apart. That is the legal way." "It is the right way." Raymond nodded. "Good, because the other way would have gotten you arrested, and I am too old to bail you out of jail." I went to bed that night and actually slept, deep and dreamless, the sleep of someone who knows exactly what comes next. Tuesday morning I woke up at 6, showered, dressed in the best clothes I had, a button-down shirt and khakis. Nothing fancy, but clean, professional. Raymond handed me a folder at breakfast. Copies of everything, paper does not delete. I left at 8:30. The bank opened at 9, but I wanted to be there early. Helena unlocked the front door at 8:58, saw me, waved me in. I spread the documents across her desk, bank statements, transfer records, forged signatures, the asset transfer plan, the assisted living paperwork, the letter about Mara's insurance beneficiary. Helena read each page. When she reached the assisted living plan, she stopped. "This is mistreatment of an elder, financial exploitation. Silas, this is criminal." "Can you freeze everything?" "Already done, but now I can make it permanent." She picked up her phone, started making calls. I sat there listening, heard her talking to the fraud division, to the bank's legal team, to someone at the district attorney's office. After 30 minutes, she hung up. "It is done. The accounts are permanently frozen pending investigation. Law enforcement has been notified, and Elias will be notified that his access has been revoked." My phone buzzed. A text from Elias. "What the hell did you do?" Then another. "We need to talk. Now." I turned off my phone. I left the bank at 10:30. My phone rang an hour later. "Elias." I let it go to voicemail, then a text message. "I am coming over. We are going to fix this. Right now." 20 minutes later, his black sedan pulled into Raymond's driveway. Raymond opened the door before Elias could knock. "He does not want to talk to you." "That is not your decision." I walked up behind Raymond. "What do you want, Elias?" "I want to know why they froze my accounts." "Your accounts? Those were my accounts, the ones you stole from. I did not steal anything. You signed the papers." "I signed some papers. You forged the rest." Elias went pale. "How did you—" "I found everything. The storage unit. The documents. The plan. All of it." "You broke into my storage unit?" "I walked in through an emergency exit, inspected a rental unit as part of my consulting work. Everything I did was completely legal." I pulled out my phone, scrolled through pictures. "I have photos of every document, every forged signature, every page of your plan, and I gave all of it to the bank this morning." Elias stared. "This is a misunderstanding. We can fix this. You tried to steal my money. You forged documents. You planned to have me declared incompetent, and you started while your mother was gravely ill." "Dad, do not call me that. You lost the right when you forged her signature on the insurance beneficiary form." Elias took a step back. "You cannot prove any of this." "I already did. The bank has everything. The police have everything." Elias turned, walked to his car, drove away. Raymond closed the door. That went better than I expected. It is not over yet. He is going to go back to that storage unit tonight, try to destroy the evidence. You already have copies. He does not know that, and when he does, I am going to be there. That afternoon, Detective Parrish called. "We will be issuing an arrest warrant for Elias Oren. We will execute it tomorrow afternoon." At 8 p.m., I drove to the storage facility, parked near the service entrance, waited. At 9:15, Elias's car arrived. He went inside. I followed through the service entrance, moved through the hallways, took the stairs, second floor. He was inside the unit, Pulling boxes down, scattering papers everywhere, I stepped into the doorway. Looking for these? I held up my phone. Photos of his documents. Elias spun around. What are you doing here? Watching you panic. You cannot be here. You are trespassing. So call the police. This was not personal. This was business. Mom wanted us taken care of. She told you nothing. The insurance was for me, and you forged her signature to steal it. Elias's face went white. I needed the money. The business was failing. I had no choice. You chose to steal from your father, and you started while your mother was gravely ill. Dad, please, do not call me that. He took a step toward me. You are going to destroy me, my job, my reputation, my life. You did that yourself. What do you want? Money? Take it all. Just drop the complaint. I want nothing from you. Then what is the point? You already won. I want you to understand what you threw away, what you could never get back. Elias's face twisted. You sanctimonious old man. You were weak. You let everyone push you around. I learned not to be weak. You are not strong. You are just broken. Get out. You got what you wanted. Now leave. No, not until you hear all of it. I pulled out my phone, started reading from the asset transfer plan, every phase, every step. When I got to phase 4, his voice faded. When I finished, I looked at him. You planned every detail. You treated me like an obstacle, your own father. I turned to leave. Wait, Elias said, desperate. Please, I am sorry. I stood there, felt nothing. Too late, I said, and I walked out. I made it 3 steps down the hallway before I heard him running. Footsteps loud on concrete, coming fast. I turned, saw him coming. Face twisted, hands reaching. I shifted my weight, stepped aside, let his momentum carry him past me. He stumbled, caught himself on the wall, spun back toward me. You cannot do this, he said, breathing hard. You cannot just walk away. I am your son. You were my son, not anymore. He came at me again, this time with his hands up, trying to grab my jacket, trying to stop me from leaving. I caught his wrist, twisted, used his own weight against him, pushed him back against the wall, hard. Do not touch me, I said. He stared at me, eyes wide, like he was seeing me for the first time. Who are you? He whispered. I am the man you underestimated. I let go. He slumped against the wall, slid down to the floor, put his head in his hands. Please, he said, voice breaking. Please do not do this. I will lose everything, my job, my freedom, everything. You already lost it, the moment you forged that first signature. I can fix this. Give me time. I will make it right. There is no making this right. What you did, what you planned, it cannot be undone. He looked up at me, tears on his face, real tears, not manipulation, just desperation. What about forgiveness? What about second chances? You always taught me that people deserve second chances. I taught you a lot of things, like honesty, like loyalty, like taking care of family. You ignored all of that. Why should I give you what you never gave me? Because I am your son. Being my son is not a shield. It is not protection from consequences. You used that relationship as a weapon. You exploited my trust, my grief, my love. And now you want me to protect you from what you did? He stood up, wiped his face. You are right. About all of it. I used you. I betrayed you. I deserve everything that is coming. But Dad, please, just tell me one thing. Did you ever love me? Even after everything? Did any part of you still love me? I looked at him, this broken man in a dark hallway, this stranger wearing my son's face. I loved who you used to be, or who I thought you were. But that person is gone, if he ever existed at all. Elias nodded slowly. Then I guess we are both ghosts now. No, you are a ghost. I am alive, and I am walking away. I turned, started walking toward the stairs. Wait, he called out. Just wait 1 second. I stopped, did not turn around. The storage unit. Everything in it. Take it, use it, destroy it. Whatever you want. Just know that I kept it all because part of me knew this day would come. Part of me wanted to be caught. Wanted to be stopped. Wanted someone to make me face what I had become. If that were true, you would have stopped yourself. I could not. I was in too deep. The lies, the debts, the plan, it all became bigger than me. I got lost in it. That is not an excuse. I know, but it is the truth. I walked to the stairs, started down, Heard him behind me, not following, just standing there, breathing, existing. Made it to the first floor, through the service entrance, out into the cold night air. The rain had stopped. Everything smelled like wet concrete and oil, industrial, honest, real. I got in my truck, started the engine, sat there for a moment with my hands on the wheel. My phone vibrated. Text message from Elias. I am sorry. For everything. I know it does not matter, but I needed to say it one more time. I deleted it. Put the phone in my pocket. Drove back to Raymond's house. The streets were empty. Just yellow streetlights and dark windows. Everyone asleep. Everyone safe in their lives. Raymond was waiting in the kitchen. Coffee pot on, 2 mugs out. How did it go? He asked. He broke, completely. Good. Did he try anything? He tried to stop me, physically. I pushed him away. Raymond nodded. Poured coffee. You hurt him? No, just moved him. He is fine. You sure? Because if he claims you attacked him, he will not. He knows he lost. He is not going to make it worse. We drank in silence. The kitchen clock ticked. The refrigerator hummed. Normal sounds, peaceful sounds. What happens now? Raymond asked. Now I wait. The police arrest him tomorrow. The courts do their work. And I get my life back. And then? And then I figure out what that life looks like. Raymond studied me. You do not look like a man who won. I do not feel like one either. Why not? Because winning is supposed to feel different. It is supposed to feel like something, but I just feel empty. That is normal. You spent months building up to this, planning, fighting, and now it is over. The adrenaline is gone. What you are feeling is just the come down. Maybe. Give it time. When everything settles, when you are back in your house, when your accounts are restored, when your life is yours again, that is when you will feel it. I wanted to believe him, wanted to think that satisfaction was waiting somewhere down the road, that justice would eventually feel like justice. But sitting there in that kitchen, drinking coffee at midnight, I was not sure anymore. I went to bed, lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Elias on the floor of that storage unit, thinking about the tears on his face, thinking about the way he asked if I ever loved him. And I realized I did not know the answer anymore. Had I loved him? Or had I loved the idea of him? The son I wanted him to be instead of the son he actually was? Maybe it did not matter. Maybe love was irrelevant now. Maybe all that mattered was justice and consequences and making sure he paid for what he did. But lying there in the dark, I was not sure about that either. I fell asleep eventually, dreamless, heavy. Wednesday morning, Detective Parrish called at 9. We executed the warrant an hour ago. Elias Oren is in custody. He will be arraigned this afternoon. Thank you. Mr. Oren, I need to ask. Did you have any contact with your son last night? We found evidence that someone entered his storage unit around the time you filed your complaint. I was there, as a safety consultant, checking building compliance. At 9 p.m.? I work irregular hours. Silence on the line. Then, all right. Just wanted to confirm. We will be in touch if we need anything else. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone, wondering if I had just lied to a police officer, wondering if I cared. Raymond made breakfast, eggs and toast. We ate without talking. The morning news played on the TV in the living room. Weather, traffic, local stories. Nothing about Elias, not yet. That would come later. What are you going to do now? Raymond asked finally. Get my house back, get my money back, start over. And Elias? He is not my problem anymore. You really believe that? I looked at him. I have to. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. This is Tess. We need to talk. Please. I deleted it, blocked the number. Another text came through, different number. Silas, it is Tess. I know you do not want to hear from me, but there are things you do not know. Things Elias never told you. Please, just 5 minutes. I stared at the message, felt something twist in my gut. Curiosity, or maybe fear. What did I not know? What could possibly justify what they did? I deleted that message too, blocked that number too. Whatever secrets they had, I did not want them, did not need them. The truth was simple. They betrayed me. They tried to destroy me. Nothing else mattered. But part of me wondered. Part of me wanted to know. I pushed that part down, buried it, focused on what came next. Thursday morning, Helena called. The investigation is moving fast. Elias's lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal. He wants to avoid trial. What kind of deal? Full restitution, return of all assets, guilty plea to fraud and forgery. Probably 3 to 5 years. And if he does not take the deal? Then it goes to trial. And with the evidence you provided, he will lose. Could be looking at 10 years. Maybe more if they add mistreatment of an elder charges. I thought about that. 10 years. Elias would be 45 when he got out. Middle-aged, his career destroyed, his reputation gone, his life essentially over. Silas, I need to ask, what do you want out of this? Justice? Or do you want him to suffer? I thought about that question. Really thought about it. I want my life back. What happens to him is his choice. He can take the deal or go to trial. Either way, I get what is mine. That is fair. But you should know, his lawyer wants you to speak at the sentencing, to give a victim impact statement. No. It could affect his sentence. Make it shorter or longer, depending on what you say. I said no. I am not standing in a courtroom talking about what he did to me. I am not giving him that power. All right. I will let them know. She hung up. I sat there thinking about courtrooms, about standing in front of a judge and jury and telling them what my son did to me, about watching Elias sit there listening, about giving him one more moment of my time, my energy, my life. No, I was done. He got no more of me. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Oren, this is James Kellerman. I am representing your son in his criminal case. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just hear me out. Elias wants to speak with you. He wants to apologize, to make things right. Too late for that. He is willing to sign over everything, the house, the accounts, all of it. No fight, no delays. He will plead guilty to everything. Just please talk to him. 5 minutes. That is all he is asking. Why? So he can manipulate me one more time? So he can try to convince me this was all a misunderstanding? No, so he can say goodbye. He knows what he did. He knows he is going to prison. He just wants one chance to tell you he is sorry, face to face. He already said that, multiple times. It did not mean anything then. It does not mean anything now. Mr. Oren, I have been a defense attorney for 23 years. I have represented hundreds of people. Most of them lie to me, lie to themselves, lie to everyone. But your son is not lying. He is genuinely remorseful, genuinely broken, and he just wants a chance to tell you that before he loses everything. He already lost everything, the moment he betrayed me. I understand, and I am not asking you to forgive him. I am just asking you to listen. 5 minutes. Then you never have to see him again. I sat there holding the phone, thinking about 5 minutes, about what Elias could possibly say that would make any difference. No, I said finally. I am done listening. I am done caring. He made his choices. Now he lives with them. Mr. Oren, I hung up, sat there staring at the phone, waiting for it to ring again. It did not. That evening I drove past the house. My house? Elias's car was gone. The driveway was empty. A for sale sign was planted in the front yard. Big red letters. Motivated seller. I pulled over, sat there looking at it, at the place where I raised my son, where Mara and I built our life, where everything fell apart. The windows were dark. No curtains, no furniture visible, just empty rooms behind glass. Tess had stripped it, taken everything, probably sold half of it already. Getting ready to run. Raymond pulled up beside me, rolled down his window. You following me? I asked. Maybe. You were staring at your phone for an hour. Figured you might do something stupid. Like what? Like go see him, like let him talk you into something. I am not that weak. I know, but grief makes people weak, and you are grieving, even if you do not want to admit it. I am not grieving. I am moving forward. Moving forward looks a lot like running away. I looked at him. What do you want me to say? That I miss my son? That I wish things were different? Fine, I do. But wishing does not change anything. He did what he did. I did what I had to do. It is over. Is it? Yes. Raymond looked at the house. You going to buy it back? I do not know yet. You should. It is your house, your history. Do not let them take that too. He drove away. I sat there for another 10 minutes. Then I drove back to his place. That night I could not sleep. Just lay there thinking about the house, about buying it back, about living in those rooms again. Could I do that? Could I walk through that door every day knowing what happened there? Knowing that my son planned my destruction in those rooms? That he forged documents at the kitchen table? That he and Tess celebrated their plan in the living room? Or would buying it back be a victory? A reclaiming? A way of saying that he did not win? That he did not get to take everything? I did not know. Saturday morning, I called a real estate agent, made an offer on the house. Cash. 20% below asking. The agent said she would present it. 2 hours later, she called back. They accepted. They want to close as fast as possible. How fast? 2 weeks if we can expedite everything. Do it. Sunday, Helena called again. Elias took the plea deal. Full restitution, 5 years. He will be sentenced next month. Good. The house deed will be transferred back to you within 30 days. The accounts are being unfrozen. Everything will be restored. Thank you, Helena, for everything. You are welcome. And Silas, take care of yourself. Winning is hard, sometimes harder than losing. She hung up. I sat there thinking about that, about winning being hard. She was right. Losing had a clarity to it, a simplicity. You lost, you grieved, you moved on. But winning was complicated, because winning meant you had to figure out what to do with the life you fought to get back, had to figure out who you were now, had to figure out if any of it was worth it. Monday morning, I drove to the house, used my old key. It still worked. The place was empty, furniture gone, pictures removed, just bare walls and empty rooms and the echo of footsteps on hardwood floors. I walked through, kitchen where Elias told me to leave, living room where Tess watched me pack, bedroom where Mara used to sleep before she got too sick to climb the stairs, stood in each room, feeling the weight of memory, feeling the absence of everything that used to be here. This was my house, my victory, my reclaimed life. But standing there in the emptiness, it felt like losing. 2 weeks later, the house was officially mine again. The deed arrived in the mail. I signed it, filed it, made it legal. The bank released the funds. All of them, plus interest, plus damages for the fraud. I was whole again, financially, legally, but not completely. I spent the next week cleaning out the house, getting rid of everything Elias and Tess left behind, repainting, fixing, making it mine again. Raymond helped. We worked in silence, mostly. Just two old men rebuilding something that was broken. You going to stay here? He asked one afternoon. I do not know yet. You could sell it, start fresh somewhere else. Maybe. That night I sat in the living room, empty except for one chair, stared at the walls, thought about Mara, about the life we built here, about Elias growing up in these rooms, thought about how it all fell apart. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. Dad? Elias, calling from jail. I should have hung up, should have ended it right there, but I did not. What do you want? I asked. I wanted to hear your voice, before sentencing. Silence. I am sorry, he said, for everything. I know that does not fix anything, but I needed to say it. You already said it. I know, but I mean it this time, I really do. It does not matter. I know. More silence. Are you going to be there, at the sentencing? He asked. No. I understand. Elias? Yeah? I stopped. Did not know what I wanted to say. Did not know if there was anything left to say. Goodbye, I said finally. I hung up, sat there in the dark, in the empty house, feeling nothing. The next day I put the house on the market. The house sold in 3 weeks. Cash offer, no inspection, quick close. I took the money, added it to what the bank returned, had more than I started with, bought a small place 2 states away, nothing fancy, just a cabin near the woods. Quiet, away from everything. Raymond helped me move. We loaded the truck with what little I kept, drove 12 hours, unloaded in silence. You going to be okay out here? He asked. Yeah. You need anything? You call. I will. He left the next morning. I stood on the porch watching his truck disappear down the road. Then I went inside, unpacked, set up the few things I owned. That night I built a fire, sat in front of it, thought about everything that happened. Thought about Elias sitting in a cell, about Tess running, about Helena and Raymond and everyone who helped. Thought about Mara, about what she would think of all this. I decided she would understand. She always understood. The sentencing happened on a Tuesday. I did not go, did not watch, did not care. Helena called afterward. 5 years. He took it quietly. No outburst, no drama. Good. Tess filed for divorce. Already moved to another state. Good. Silas, are you okay? I am fine. You do not sound fine. I won. That is what matters. Is it? I hung up. Spent the next month alone, chopping wood, fixing the cabin, walking in the woods, not thinking. It's just existing. One morning, I woke up and realized I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no grief. Just nothing. And I decided that was okay. 3 months after everything ended, I was in town buying supplies when I saw him, or someone who looked like him. Same build, same walk. For a moment I thought Elias had gotten out early, had come to find me. Then the man turned. Different face, different person. I realized I was disappointed, not because I wanted to see Elias, but because I wanted to feel something, anything. I drove back to the cabin, unloaded the supplies, sat on the porch, thought about calling Raymond, thought about calling Helena, thought about calling someone just to hear another voice, did not do it. That night I got a letter, forwarded from my old address, from the prison. I stared at it for an hour, almost threw it in the fire unread. But I opened it. Dad, I do not expect you to read this. I do not expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know that I understand now. What I did, what I threw away. I think about it every day, about Mom, about you, about the person I used to be before I became this. I am not asking for anything, not forgiveness, not another chance. Just, I am sorry, for all of it. Elias. I read it twice. Then I walked to the fireplace, held the letter over the flames, watched it catch, watched it burn, watched the words disappear into ash, felt nothing, went to bed. The next morning I woke up and started packing. Did not know where I was going, did not care, just knew I could not stay here, could not keep living in this nothing. I loaded the truck, locked the cabin, started driving, no destination, no plan, just movement. That is when my phone rang. Helena. Silas, there is a problem. Elias escaped during a prison transfer. They do not know where he is. Everything stopped. When? I asked. 2 hours ago. They think he is headed your way. Silas, you need to get somewhere safe. I am already gone. Where? Does not matter. If he is coming, let him come. Silas. I hung up, kept driving. 3 hours later I saw him, standing on the side of the road, hitchhiking. I should have kept driving, should have called the police. But I stopped. He got in, looked at me. I knew you would come this way. Why did you run? Because I had to see you, had to talk to you. They would not let me. The lawyers, the guards. Nobody would let me. So you escaped. Yeah. You are a fool. I know. I started driving, did not know where, just drove. Where are we going? Elias asked. I do not know. Are you going to turn me in? I do not know that either. We drove in silence, miles passing, trees blurring, no words. Finally I pulled off at a rest stop, parked, turned off the engine. What do you want, Elias? I want to fix this. You cannot. I know, but I have to try. Why? Because you are my father, and I destroyed you, and I cannot live with that anymore. I looked at him. Really looked. Saw the prison clothes, the exhaustion, the desperation. You cannot fix this, I said. What you did, what you took, it is gone, forever. I know. Then why are you here? Because I needed you to know that I understand, that it matters to me. It does not matter to me. I know that too. Silence. Then I saw the police cars, coming fast. Lights flashing, someone at the rest stop must have called, must have recognized him. Elias saw them too, did not run, just sat there. I am sorry, Dad. The police surrounded the truck, guns drawn, shouting. Elias got out, hands up, on the ground, cuffed. They pulled him away, put him in the back of a cruiser. One officer came to my window. You okay, sir? Yeah. Did he threaten you? No. Did he hurt you? No. The officer looked confused. Then why did you pick him up? I did not answer. Did not know the answer. They took Elias away, left me sitting in my truck, alone, in an empty parking lot. I sat there for an hour, maybe more, just staring at nothing. Then I started the engine, started driving, did not look back. 5 months later, I was living in a different state, different cabin, different life. Helena called. Elias got 10 more years for the escape. He will be 70 when he gets out. Good. Silas, are you ever going to let this go? I already did. Did you? I hung up, spent the next year alone, working, building, existing, not living, just existing. One morning I woke up and realized I was 70. Realized I had spent 2 years of my life rebuilding something that would never be whole again. I realized I was tired. Decided it was time to stop running, stop hiding, stop pretending I felt nothing. Decided it was time to face what I really felt. But then I realized I did not know what I felt anymore. Did not know if I felt anything at all. And that was when I understood. Revenge had won, but I had lost. Not to Elias, to myself. I had let the anger consume everything else. Had let the need for justice erase everything that mattered. Had become exactly what I was fighting against. Someone who destroyed instead of built. Someone who took instead of gave. I sat on the porch of my cabin, watching the sun set, thinking about Mara, about what she would say if she could see me now. She would tell me to forgive, to move on, to let go. But I could not, would not, maybe never would, because some things cannot be forgiven. Some betrayals cut too deep. And maybe that was okay. Maybe I did not need to forgive, did not need to move on, did not need to let go. Maybe I just needed to accept that this was who I was now. This quiet, empty, victorious. I closed my eyes, felt the last light of the sun on my face, and for the first time in 3 years, I felt something. Not peace, not satisfaction, not closure, just enough. That was when I heard the car, coming up the long driveway. Too fast, too urgent. I stood up, watched it approach, recognized it. Tess. She got out, walked toward me, face hard, eyes cold. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we do not." "Yes, we do, because Elias gave me something before they took him back, something he wanted you to have." She held out an envelope. I did not take it. "He said it explains everything, the real reason he did what he did, the real reason he needed the money. I do not care. You will." She dropped the envelope on the porch, walked back to her car, drove away. I stared at the envelope, did not want to open it, did not want to know. But I picked it up, tore it open, read. Inside was a letter and medical records, Mara's medical records, but different ones, from a different doctor, from a different hospital, records that showed a second diagnosis, one I never knew about, one that changed everything, records that showed Elias was sick, had been sick, since before Mara passed, records that showed he needed treatments, expensive treatments, treatments he could not afford, records that showed he was trying to save himself, not steal from me, records that showed I was wrong about everything. I dropped the papers, felt my legs give out, sat down hard on the porch, felt everything I built collapse, every piece of certainty, every ounce of righteousness, gone. I had destroyed my son, for trying to save himself, for being too proud to ask for help, for making mistakes driven by desperation instead of greed. I sat there, in the dark, alone, and I finally felt something. Regret.